I'm always left asking myself, why am I having such a hard time making friends? How come when I do make friends, it doesn't seem like they really like me at all? And how bad should I be feeling for who I was in the past versus who I am now, that the frontal lobe has developed? And I think this weekend, I finally cracked the code. I think I finally figured out how to make friends as an adult. Hello, love. I'm Anjuli, and I mostly make content centered around fashion, beauty, and empowerment because ultimately I want you to feel good about who you are, no matter where you come from. And this weekend, I think I cracked the code to making friends as an adult, and I had a really, really good time. Well, I went out to a Halloween event, and I had a really good time running into friends, new and old, and realized this friend thing is actually a lot easier than I have been making it. So this past weekend, I went to a Halloween event hosted by this group called Hairpins. It's actually a woman queer focused group. So the girls, the gays, they come out, they go to this venue, and we're all dressed for Halloween. And I was going there to meet up with this girl named Lexi, who I have kind of been, we've been texting, and we've met up one other time for dinner before. And I was just excited because I was going to go meet up with somebody who was a potential friend and her group of friends. Like, I was so excited because I was going to be a part of a group of something, And in my mind, I'm also thinking, well, if I like her, there's a high chance I'll probably like her friends, which means maybe I'll have a friend group. And y'all, I had so much fun. I was very, 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 very nervous before I got there. Don't get me wrong. Immediately I was like, am I gonna need a drink? And don't get me wrong, I did, okay? We're in a bar, I'm an adult woman, I'm allowed to have an adult beverage, but I was like I'm a little nervous. I'm a bit of a nervous person when I go out, and I'm always wondering to myself, are they going to like me? Are people going to like me? Are her friends going to like me? Are we going to go out? Because we went out for dinner, but this is our first time really hanging out, and I was like, is she going to like me when we're hanging out? And first problem right there, you don't get people to like you. You show up as yourself and then decide if you like them and if your vibes are going to mesh, if they're going to work well. This was a really great environment actually for us to test our friendship because number one, she did have her group of friends there. So she had her backup in case, things between us didn't work out. But also we had the buffer of everybody else around us to kind of make sure that we were seeing how we are in public spaces, how we are in group events, because I know in the past I would make friends with people and we just did not have the same behavior when we were out of our houses. And when I say stuff like this, it's very important to clarify, none of this is bad or good. It's just different. We are just different people. We just place our values differently. We do our behavior differently. And that's it. It isn't always good versus bad. And when I would make friends in the past and make friends with other people, our behavior outside was just usually very, very different. And one of the first thing I noted was most all of her friends are performers. So they understand the dichotomy of being you, but also kind of having to be a persona every single time you step out of your house. And that sounds like such a weird thing to kind of balance, but I think when you know the industry, and as a performer, as somebody who's oftentimes, most people are meeting me and they've only met me online, there is an element of this is me, but then this is the me online that you're getting. And there's a lot of overlap, but there are slight differences. And so I don't just behave whichever way outside. And it was nice to be in an environment where it seemed like people understood that. And they also moved accordingly, okay? And I didn't have to try to make them understand that at all. It was just, we knew, we understood. I showed up as myself, they showed up as themselves, and together we realized that, we both have this thing in common. It's not one of us trying to make the other one seem like we have it in common. We both have this thing in common. We both understand what this thing is. And so this aspect of our relationship, this aspect of our personalities just fits. And we know that because we showed up authentically as ourselves instead of trying to make a puzzle fit where that doesn't fit. Does that make sense? So the night's going on, we're having fun. I actually run into several people from my past, and I have a deep-seated fear of running into people from my past because I was a very unhealed, broken, severely traumatized person all throughout my 20s. And you can't be good when you're acting from a point of survival. And I have a lot of fear of running into people that maybe I wasn't too kind to in my past. And running into these people was so healing because, and I think both ways, because we both just looked at each other, we would lock eyes with each other and be like, oh my God, I can't believe it's you. And then we catch up with each other. We talk about how young and dumb and stupid we were in our 20s and how much different we are now that our frontal lobes have developed, and how we all understand that none of us were behaving well because we were all young and dumb and in our 20s, which is a universal thing, which I did not realize was a universal thing. And it opened up a passageway for new friendships to form. A new version of each other to meet up with each other now and to go, yeah, I would love to actually meet who you are now in this moment and like be friends with you, especially now that we all are in healthy places. We are all in developed places. We're all in our 30s, so our brains are now mostly developed. And it was just so nice because I actually got to tell my younger self, listen, we didn't do so great, okay? But we are not bad people. And I don't know if I've ever made a video on this, but I do when I talk to people younger than me and they tell me about their mistakes. I oftentimes have to reiterate and really try to drive into them that the thing about making mistakes in your youth, in your 20s, is that's all you think of. And you really start to internalize it and you really start to make it a part of your personality and you really start to self-punish. And the problem with that is you can never grow when you're in that position, which means that you can never make new relationships because you're always operating out of this fear that you were just this terrible, undeserving person who doesn't deserve a second chance. But we all deserve second, third, fourth, fifth chances. That is just something that I believe is our right as a human because humans do mess up, humans do make mistakes. And my younger self, I got to tell her, listen, stop walking around and punishing yourself. You deserve to get out there. You are not a bad person and you deserve to get out there and attempt to make these friendships now. Now that you've gotten confirmation, I know personally I'm giving myself confirmation because I've done the work, I've done the healing, but now I've gotten public feedback that, we were all messed up back then. We were all doing the best we could with what we had and it wasn't great. All of us were. And there's no reason for you to be worried about us because we're not worried about you and hopefully you're not worried about us. And everybody is operating under this disguise of, are we all upset with each other? Are we all mad at each other for who we once were? Even though we all feel like we've done the healing, we've all done the work, and we're all different and we're all older now because, mind you, most of these people I haven't seen in like 5+ years. So hopefully they have done the work. Hopefully they have done the growth, and friendship is understanding that we are all always evolving. There are friendships that are going to break apart because they need to break apart. And sometimes they don't come back. And that's okay. It's the end of that timeline. But there are also relationships that end for a second and then they come back together when timing is right, when healing is right. And it is up to you, the individual, to decide, can I meet this person where they're at right now? And the beautiful thing is, there are groups that I met that night where I'm like, I could definitely meet these people where they're at right now. And I'm so glad that they want to meet me where I'm at right now. Like, this is healing. This is growth. This is how relationships work. And so I'm riding a high all freaking night because number one, like I said, I'm trying to decide, do I like these people around me? I'm not trying to make anybody like me because I like me. I've worked really hard to become this person. I like me. And they would be so lucky to be my friend. Now, do I like them? Is this going to work for me? Because I should not have to sacrifice myself to be in these relationships. Another lesson I've learned in my past is we don't sacrifice ourselves for people not like that. There is sacrifice that is worth it. There's a lot of sacrifice that's just not. And so I'm coming at this from a new perspective, like I said, of do I like these people? Are we going to fit together? Do I see things in common? Do I see any red flags or little things that maybe I should keep in the back burner for a little bit later? Maybe expand upon and ask about when we're not in a bar about later, you know? How do I feel about what's going on around me? And now that I'm running into people from my past, how many of them do I feel ready to accept back into my life? And I genuinely walked out that night with, I can't believe I'm counting, but hold on. 1, 2, 4, 5 potential friends. I mean, I say potential, but to be honest, they're probably friends at this point. They're probably friends. It just, are we going to take it to best friend levels and best levels and sister levels? Who knows? But I walked out of there with 5 friends, reconnecting with 5 friends, making new connections with 5 friends. And I have never felt so good about those connections. Because the other thing is with mixing alcohol into the mix, sometimes you get a little overzealous. Sometimes you get that feeling of just extra friendliness and extra excitement and extra overly optimistic about the nature of what you're actually forming. I was able to see the reality of things. There is video proof of the reality of things. There's picture proof of the reality of things. And there is follow-up. It wasn't just like 2 girls in the bathroom who say, oh my God, yeah, add me on Instagram, which cherish those relationships too. Those are great for their own separate reason. But these were like, oh, I'm going to send you a follow-up message. Almost sounds like a business transaction, but I'm going to send you a follow-up message. And there were follow-up messages. There are plans in motion. There are things that say, yes, let's do this. Let's explore this connection further. I do feel optimistic and I do feel positive about that because this is how we build relationships. This is how we build friendship. And for so long, I had overcomplicated this thing because, like I said, I was constantly trying to fit myself into other people's molds, or I was trying to make them like me, or I was trying to punish myself for who I used to be. But we don't have to do that. We are beyond that. We have grown past that. We're in our 30s, babe. The only thing you have to do if you want to make good, authentic friendships is understand where you once were. Understand you are no longer there anymore, so stop punishing yourself for it. Show up as who you are now in this moment and let things take course. Let things move. There are people that I'm going to meet and that I knew I was going to meet that I was going to go, I don't know that I see a friendship here. And that's okay. You don't have to be friends with everybody. In fact, it's probably kind of weird if you are because, and I mean, it goes back to, do you like every single person you've met anyway? So why do you want every single person to like you? My battery had just died, so I don't know exactly where I was at. But this past Halloween weekend, I learned how to make friends. I learned the beauty of reconnecting with your past and closure, something that I have been so very rarely offered. And I learned just how overcomplicated I have been making things when it's really a lot easier than we think. In order to make friends, you do have to leave your house. And that's really the biggest barrier for me is I just don't like leaving my house. Who does? But you have to leave your house. You have to decide that you are deserving and worthy of relationships, healthy relationships, good relationships. And you also have to decide that you are good enough as you are. And if people don't like you, then that's it. It's not a slight on you. It's just people don't like you. And that's okay because you're not going to like everybody you meet as well. And I genuinely hope that you've gotten something out of this video. I just want to talk to you like you're my younger sibling, like you're my friend, like you're one of my peers, because I do wish that I had somebody along with me the entire way of my life to chat with. and I didn't. So if I can be that for you, then I've done what I need to do. And until the next video, bye.